You're listening to the Clean Comedy Podcast with your host, James Creviston.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Clean Comedy Podcast. This week, I have another great dry bar comedian for you, a guy who we connected on a level because we have similar backgrounds, we have similar family lifestyles, and his stand-up special talks a lot about that. I want you to please welcome the very funny, the very talented Joey Callahan. Joey, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Hi, yeah, this is we're both kin spirits, man. Like, we're hostages of wife and children.
That is correct.
Yeah, we put the stock in Stockholm syndrome. So yeah.
I saw your stand up because I'm working on my set, and I had a theme of being a girl dad, and I saw your thing, and I was like, oh man, he beat me to the punch here. I don't even know. But as I watched it, I was like, okay, we have different views on things, and I think you have a little bit older kids than I do, so there's like a lot of things to play off of here. So it seemed like I was like this, but we're kindred spirits in that way. So for me, it was good.
That's one of the jokes I do in the special is like living with all women. I've got it down to a science. When I wake up, I just apologize to the first one I see. Just get it out of the way. And
I love it.
It's statistically impossible, and you can go call NASA on this. I'm telling you, the numbers are right. I cannot be 100% wrong 100% of the time. It's just impossible.
But somehow we always are. Somehow we always are.
That's your only defense. Math. The nuns would say math never lied. I'm just going to go with
math. I have this thing where I do with my wife all the time where I tell them something. I explain a situation, and I tell them how the outcome is going to be if they do X, Y, and Z. And my wife goes, that's not going to happen. And then they go do it, and what I said happens. And they go, and then my wife will come up to me, and I've never gotten it on tape. It drives me nuts. But she goes, hey, just so you know, you were right about that. And I'm like, why am I not recording right now? What is happening? Yeah, but she would deny it to her death. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like, remember that time you said I was right? And she'd be like, I never said that. And I'm like, this is not fair. Like, what? I feel like I can't, I can't bust somebody committing a crime. And I'm like, I need the evidence so I can show the rest of the world that at some point in my life, I'm not wrong, you know?
It's kind of like a politician, like, I said this. I never said that. I know.
Yeah. I know. I feel like I need the media to like be in my house all the time to record her, and I can just play it back. I always tell her, I say, when we die, I cannot wait to watch the film of our life and just show you all the times where I was correct and all the things that that I had said a million times that you told me I was wrong about, and then I can prove them to you because I have video evidence. Only God has that evidence, apparently. So,
and I'll never. I'm not talking politics, but one of the funniest things I saw was when Marjorie Taylor Greene was on trial, and the prosecution said, "Did you do this?" No, I didn't do this. Hold on, let's play this tape. Whoa, wait a minute, whoa, yeah, whoa. I may have said that. So, husbands would love those moments. I didn't say that. Let's go to tape, shall we?
Yeah, right. I know. I want like a John Madden voice to come over and like, let's play that back. Like, I win.
You can see here the circle represents.
Yeah, exactly. So, Joey, tell us a little bit about your comedy, your origin story, how you got into stand-up, all that kind of stuff. Because I know you're from Philly, which I love Philly. I'm an Eagles fan. I grew up in Texas.
Okay.
I got beat up a lot for that. So but I am big Eagles fan. So
we got a couple Dallas fans here in Philly. We call them custard. When football season. So it's I'm an Irish Catholic kid from Philadelphia. Behind me is my aunt and uncle's bar. We called it the tap room because all the beers were on tap. Those guys behind me were my uncles. These were the funniest guys. My uncle Johnny O'Connor, my grandfather Andrew O'Connor. These guys would hold court. When they would tell stories, the entire bar would listen to what they would say, and I just fell in love with that. And I also fell in love with the way people just laughed. And I would sit there and do my homework at the bar during the day sometimes, and the Dick Van Dyke Show would be on the big black and white TV, and I'd be sitting there with a Coke. Nobody was in the bar. I'm doing the homework, and it was just like, God, I would love to do that. And fortunately, I was able to do open mics, get an stand up that way. But it was a natural progression, all starting behind me here at the Fishtown Tavern in Philadelphia.
Does the Fishtown Tavern still exist? Is it still
It
there?
does. It does. The family the family no longer has a connection to it, but there's a
Oh.
section of Philadelphia called Fishtown, and there's Old Fishtown. So what I say that is because I tell people all the time, I grew up in a small town in the middle of a major metropolitan city because there was no block that I couldn't walk where I didn't have an aunt or an uncle or a cousin or buddy. So that's great, except when you get in trouble, because you get in trouble. My parents would hear about it 10 blocks ahead. This was before the internet. That
Yep.
phone would ring, and I had to do that walk of shame back to Thompson Street.
Yeah, that's small towns in Texas too. And growing up in Texas, if you did something, everybody knew about it before you got home. Your parents knew. So yeah, you walk by, and people are like, no,
Yeah.
I heard what you did, and you're like, all right, well, if you heard what I did, and I don't know you that well, my parents are gonna murder me when I get home. So
Well, and here's a great story. My grandmother, Sis Gallagher. So keep in mind, I'm a Callahan.
wait. Did you say Gallagher?
Gallagher. Yep.
We may be related. My grandfather is Gallagher.
Well, yeah, we call them the fighting Gallaghers in Philadelphia. And trust me, you're not the first Gallagher I've never met before. Dude, trust me. People go, why did you marry an Italian girl from New York? Because I didn't want any surprises. Like, I would have the confidence after, like, finally dating a girl and having the confidence to bring her to these guys and just like a family party and just like, I'd like you to meet Michelle. Right? And then all of a sudden, one of my uncles go, hey, come here. Take me in the other room. You know who that is? How long you been dating her? What? That's your cousin. So I don't know how you guys down south. You guys down south don't seem to slow you down as far as the marrying the cousin thing.
Whoa! That's Alabama, man, not Texas.
Oh, okay,
you can't.
okay.
All right, you got to relax.
Anything past Delaware gets a little confusing to me. But no. So what was I? Oh, so I'm a Callahan. My mother was an O'Connor. My grandmother was a Gallagher. Callahan, O'Connor, and Gallagher. Sounds like a law firm you don't want to hire.
Yeah.
Like Callahan, O'Connor, Gallagher, and Goldberg. Like, can we get the fourth guy? The fourth guy. I was coming home one day. Grandmother, Sis Gallagher, was a maintenance worker at a public school. So there's a baseball field, public school. All of a sudden, I get approached by these two guys. I find myself into a fist fight with these two guys, right? Now, again, I don't think I was more than 10, right? I was just the way you grew up in the 70s, right? So all of a sudden, as I'm getting pummeled, I see my grandmother running out of the school. And I'm thinking, oh, thank God she's going to save me. This is going to be put to a stop. I just got to wait for her to get a little closer. She got almost up to us, stopped and went, get him, Joey. I just remember just getting pummeled, looking up to Mary and Joseph. So, yeah, that was my my love of comedy and my ability to take a punch.
Yeah. So what age did you start going to open mics and stuff?
So I got out of college in '88, December of '88. So April of '89. So what happened was when I went away to college, I had the opportunity to get on stage a lot and be on the DJ, and I start emceeing the college talent show every year. And then every year it got bigger, and I was flattered to have people say this. They were coming to see what I was going to say in between the acts. And it taught a very important skill that really served me. And when I was in college, I got a lot of stage time that way, that when I got to the open mic, first open mic, within 3 weeks, I was emceeing the open mics. And I tell young comics this all the time: stage time, stage time, stage time. You cannot beat that.
Yep. And learning to be an MC is a very important skill, because
Absolutely.
not everyone can do it, and it can make or break a show. Because a bad MC ruin a show. A good MC will make you have the best show of your life, and you'll go, I'm amazing, and then you get off and you go do another show, and that MC's not there, a bad MC's there, and you go, oh, I'm not as good as I thought I was. That's weird, Just because the energy level's not there, or the crowd wasn't warm to it. So if you're the first, second, third comic or whatever on a lineup, and the energy's been low the whole time, and you go up there and try to kill, and the MC never got them to where they needed to be a cohesive group, because that's what comedy is. It's hypnotism.
Yeah, that's right. It's a great point.
Yeah, then you can eat it and be like, well, that sucked. Like, that just happens.
It's really funny because my high school had a judo team, and one of the things we learned about judo was, like, you had it was an all boys Catholic school with a judo team. Again,
What?
Welcome to Philadelphia. So, but we were told like there were no colored belts. Like you started with a white belt, and over time it got brown, and then eventually it became black. But then after a while, it frayed and became white again. So like headliners or closers, I should say, right? The really confident ones love emceeing. Like you go back like when you're a young MC. I'm a middle. Shut up. Learn the job. Right. I love emceeing now. You like keep the show going. It's my show. My first guest. My second guest. It's all mine. How you do it.
That's exactly right. That's the thing I try to tell young comedians or coming up comedians when I'm talking to them is like, listen, learn to be an MC right now. This is going to be the easiest and hardest job at the same time. It's easy because no one cares what you say. Sorry, they don't. It's going to be hard because your job is to make them care what you say to get the other comedians over. It's like pro wrestling. Are you a pro wrestling fan by chance?
No, I'm not a wrestler guy. I don't know the wrestling. Yeah.
Okay, so in pro wrestling, there's something called getting someone over. It's where usually an older wrestler or a more veteran wrestler helps a younger, new-coming wrestler get over for the crowd where they look like they're more superhuman or strong or better than they are. That would be like when The Rock was starting and he wasn't really actually that popular. And then I believe it was like Stone Cold Steve Austin who got The Rock over, and then The Rock became, The Rock, right? So that kind of situation occurs.
Then
he was the pebble and he became The Rock.
Threw into the boulder. Yeah.
Right. So that's how that works. And so as MC, I always think of it that way: of you're trying to get everyone in the audience to get on the same page so that they will be on the side of every comedian that comes on the stage after you. Right now, they don't have to be on your side. You just have to get them to want to be on your side for the other comedian. That's the whole goal. So,
well, it's really funny because when there was a point where I was emceeing and there's a comedy it's called the Comedy Cabaret in Philadelphia, and at one point they had 12 clubs. So the owner of the clubs, Andy Scarpati, great guy, liked me and gave me as much stage time as I wanted. So after a while, like I was realizing that this MC thing is okay. There's something to it. But what I did was I shifted my thinking. I welcomed everybody to my show. And I didn't introduce the feature. I introduced them as my first guest. And I remember introducing the headline and go, well, this closer, I wanted to have him on this show. And the audience thought this was my show. I remember like this one comedian who will remain nameless, like got right in my face in the green one. This isn't your show. Stop telling people this is your show. I was laughing. I go, it's a mindset gift. Relax.
Man, that's somebody that has too big of an ego because
absolutely. We've run into them. Everybody we
always do.
I can not to tell you the guy's name.
No. You can tell me off the show. But
I would love to tell you what a jackass his jackass was. Still a jackass in his spirit.
So you've been doing comedy for what? 20 years? 30 years now?
1989 was my first kind of comedy club open mic. So okay. So I'm old.
I mean, 30 years. That's not old, actually. I mean, that's amazing that you've had, and your comedy's been your whole career, right? That's that's amazing.
Joke writing. I wrote for radio services. You do what you got to do with 2 kids, a mortgage, and you. My dad drove a truck for Breyer's ice cream, and my mother worked at Whitman's Chocolates in the factory. So I'm a blue collar kid. So I will do what needs to be done, and there's no ego. If I had to take a day job at a certain point, I did it, but it didn't last.
Right. I would have been the fattest kid on the block if my parents worked.
My sister and I were both diabetic.
I can just see myself like ice cream in one hand and chocolate in the other, just going. Yeah, it would have been bad for everybody. So you've lived in Philadelphia your whole life. You never want to move away or anything like that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Philly. I love Philly. And I can be anywhere in 2 hours. I literally could be in Baltimore or I could be in Manhattan. So, and the cost of living here in Philly is much better. The one thing, I met my wife when I was in college. Fell absolutely in love with her. We've been married 31 years. I wanted to have a normal life. I think I love my wife more than I love stand up, and I really love stand up. There's times where I want to kill my wife and she wants to kill me, but if you did the math, we're consistently in love with each other still. So maybe my career would be bigger than it was, but I can tell you, I'm pretty tops in her book, so I'm pretty happy.
There you go. Now you did a dry bar special.
Yeah.
How'd that come about? How did you get that? Did you do something different? Did you have to go through sort of material and figure that out? Because you kind of have a theme to your show too.
Sure.
Not every comedian does, but but yours is very thematic about family and stuff. Did you plan that out ahead of time, or did you know that, oh, I'm going to do this, so I'm going to take all these jokes that I've been doing and put them together to make a theme? Like, what was your idea behind that?
Well, first of all, how it came about, you probably don't know this, but I'm huge with the Mormons. Huge. No, big with the Mormons. I keep going back. I gotta go. No, so my manager, who I'm with the agency called Omnipop, which has been fantastic, and my fantastic manager Tom set that up. But when I was going out there, I knew I wanted to be respectful, and all kidding aside with the Mormons, I wanted to be respectful. You don't kind of poop where you eat. So I wanted to have a show that would appeal to them, but yet have a mass appeal. So I kind of did an inventory of my act, and I noticed the theme. I noticed because my show is very autobiographical. As things happen to me, I was in a couple of weeks ago. I was in a show in a couples only resort in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. Right, it's a really rough audience, but in the front row, this guy had a Rikers Island State Prison T-shirt on in the front row. And I'm talking to him. I go, hey man, were you in prison? And he went, I don't talk about it. And I go, well, can you answer this question? Do they have a gift shop? They get a T-shirt like that? So I've been able to. I've taken that experience, which is something autobiographical, and I now can do that joke in my act. So having daughters, being a husband, as it approaches, my wife. If my wife and children ever left me, I'd barely be an MC.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel you. That's the thing. Some of the best stuff, some of the best things I talk about has come about because of my having a wife and daughters and stuff, and that just the evolution that happens. Because as a single guy, we have funny stuff, but those are like bro stories, like stories you can tell to your friends that don't necessarily translate to stage all the time, or everybody has a similar kind of story, so it's not unique enough or funny enough. But then you start having the experiences with your wife and kids, which are unique to you, but universal to everyone else as well. So that's
But there was also, there's also jokes I couldn't do on Dry Bar. So you had to be very, very specific. I have a joke about my youngest daughter woke up one morning. She's a little girl. She's about 6 or 7. My wife and my wife's fantastic. She gets it. She's a first grade teacher. She knows how to deal with my attention deficit. And my youngest, Robin, who's now 22, woke up and said to us, like, Daddy, I had a dream Barbie slept with me. I'm going, you too? What the chances of that? And my wife looks at me and goes, write it down. So but I couldn't particularly do that joke on Dry Bar, but it was kid and daughter related. So
yeah. Do you now? You're talking about write it down. If you have an idea that comes to you, do you start writing in your phone? Do you be like, hey, hold on one second, I gotta write this down, or do you record it? Like, what's your process of coming up with new material? How do you do that when it comes to you like that?
I'm definitely not a sit down and write kind of guy.
Yeah.
First of all, Google Docs have saved my life. And there's an option on Google Docs where it's talk to type under tools section, I believe is where it is.
Yeah.
You can hit the button and just do your bit. And it's fantastic. It picks it up. I have 2 dogs. I do a lot of walking. And in my head, I'm running my act in my head. And if I think I have something down, I'll get the recorder and I'll record it. I'm looking like an idiot on the side of the road with 2 dogs.
I do it.
His phone. And to me, that's writing. I always marvel at the person who gets up at 8 o'clock in the morning, has a blank piece of paper, the newspaper. I'm going to write comedy. Not me.
Yeah. I use an app called Otter.ai. So what it is, it's got it's a little app that has, you guys probably won't see this unless you're watching the YouTube video, but it lets you record it, and then what it does is it transcribes everything that you wrote, so you can go back and listen to it if it's messed up somewhere, and you have the transcription that I could just send and then start editing or whatever. So yeah, it's saved my life a million times because I used to have to like stop and then try to type it all out, but then your brain and whatever works faster than your hands sometimes, and you can't get it out. But I'm glad that I'm not the only person that sounds like a crazy person just saying funny things into my phone.
That's right. I wanted to get like the service where I get talking in my arm when I'm doing bits when I'm out with the dog.
The old Dick Tracy.
Take the shot. Is that for Android or is that just Apple with Otter AI?
Yeah, I think it's for everything.
Okay,
it's my iPhone, but I love it because it's free. I think it transcribes up to like 500 minutes a month or something like that. And so,
I'm not that good of a writer. it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, no, but what's great is what the reason I like it the most is you keep the audio file of what you said. So if it doesn't transcribe it correctly, you could go back and listen to it and go, "Oh, that's what I said, not this or that." Because sometimes when things transcribe, even Google Docs, it throws a word off, and then you're like, "What was the word that I meant to say there?" And it like messes with your brain, and now you're trying to rethink this whole thing. And I started doing it because I would wake up in the middle of the night. I don't know if are you a Seinfeld fan?
I am.
Do you remember the episode where he gets the yellow tab and he like wakes up off the couch and writes something on the yellow paper, and then the rest of the episode he's trying to figure out what it says on there, but it's something from a movie or whatever. I've woken up in the middle of the night and said stuff, tried to write it down, and it never. And when I woke up in the morning, I was like, "What did I just write? I have no idea what I wrote here." So I started doing that, and sometimes my wife will be like, "Oh, a new joke." Like it'll wake her up. Sometimes she'll go, "All right," and then she'll go back to sleep. She knows what I'm doing. She knows I'm not talking to somebody on the phone or something. I'm telling a joke that came into me while I was half awake, half asleep, type thing.
Well, I have to be careful too because I'm painfully left-handed because I can be fully cognizant in middle of the day, write something down quickly, go away from it about an hour later, going, "What the hell did I just write there? I can't read
Yep.
my own handwriting." So.
Now, you being in Philadelphia, do you do a lot of most of your stand up or local work in Philly, or do you go up to like New York, or like what's your kind of what's your home club? Where do you do a lot of your
Yeah.
stuff at?
Well, I mean, it's tough because the comedy cabaret still I can go there. I can still. Philadelphia, like I said, I could be anywhere. So I'm all over Jabip. I'm in Hilton Head in July. I was up in North Jersey last night. Wherever check will clear. I mean, there's ample work here on the East Coast. It always fascinates me with the West Coast guys. So like they're just driving in traffic 3 hours for 6 miles, and I go, my head would explode. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like I've done New York. I've done shows in New York, and
Mhm.
I literally went from one stage to another in 8 minutes on a subway one time to do two shows back to back. But for some reason in LA, if I want to go do a show at one club and then a show another, it's like an hour between each one of them. So I better book it properly so I get there to do the stage time right. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
absolutely, absolutely amazing to me, and that's the thing. New York is the king of this, but like we said previous, stage time. You got to get up there, and you got to get up there and do your bits. And I did a show last night for it was an over 55 community. It was a double edged sword because I had a great set. I was happy with my work, and then I walked out there going, "That's my target audience." Oh my! When did I become that guy? I used to be like king of the colleges. Now I'm like king of the. I don't have my original hit.
Now, do you do cruise ships or anything like that?
I've never, you know what? Honestly, I've never done cruise ships. And again, going back to being on the East Coast, I'll go out a week at a time, but I've never. I'm always fearful of going out, and I'm really not a fan of going out where I can't get a hold of anybody, family or friend. Like, God forbid something happens, because my wife and I are empty nesters now. So my
Yeah.
girls are out. After the pandemic, they came back, and now they're out again. And just I just don't want to leave her. I'm just very protective in that regard.
That makes sense. Well, she's still a current school teacher, so she actually teaches right now and stuff. So she's not
Well,
retired yet.
no, she's not retired yet. Day three of summer, so she is down. All the East Coast people know what I'm talking about. She is down at the Jersey Shore right now. Yesterday was
Yep.
her birthday, and I was working, and I'm working tomorrow night, so I'm off tonight. Me and the dogs out to ourselves. What will we do?
Sleep and eat. That's what I do normally.
That'll work.
And then wake up from sleeping, eat some more, and go back to sleep. Yeah.
I will break wind in every room with a plum and no apologies. I'm just
There,
it's who I am.
there you go. That's awesome. Now, if you had to go back in time and tell your younger self, besides stage time, tell your younger self one piece of advice to move your comedy career forward, what would that one piece of advice be?
But I actually got it early in my career, and I would go back and remind myself this. I was doing two shows at a club one time, and the headliner was a guy named Grover Silcox. Grover Silcox was a king in Philly, radio personality, just fantastic. He does a one-man Edgar Allan Poe show. He's fantastic, right? So I had a really crappy first show as an MC, and in between at the dinner break, he kind of grabbed me. He's always been like a father to me, and he goes, Joey, you got two modes in stand up, lead or be crushed. He goes, you don't have any third option. You either take complete control of the situation or they're going to take control. And you don't have to be a bully about it. You don't have to be aggressive or abrasive, which Grover is not. Grover is just smooth and just a kind person. But when he's on stage, boom, he's centered and he's right there and they're listening. He's a lion tamer with a whip and a chair, and he commands, but in a very nice way. But so I don't really think he's like aggressive or a bully, but he does it in such a way that you want to listen to him. So that's something I try to always remember when I go on stage, that I may not be feeling it, or I hate seeing the audience before I go on, because I psych myself out. Oh, that lady's not going to like me. Oh, they're not. Oh, they're gonna. So I don't do it. I don't look at them. But when I walk out there, I'm the guy that needs to be there to get that job done.
I like that. That's good. That's funny. I thought I was the only person that did that, but I will sometimes look at the audience and be like, that guy's not going to like my joke. That person's not going to.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised. I thought I was just being weird, but I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one.
Person. Yeah, no.
It must be the Gallagher blood.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, where can people find you? Where can they find more of your stand-up? Do you have anything else besides Dry Bar you want to promote? Album, book, any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, please. Well, first of all, you can watch the entire Dry Bar special on either Amazon Prime, or you can watch it on YouTube. And please, by the way, speaking of wrestling, if you're going to leave a comment, be nice about it. So people were mean about the comments, but they weren't just mean. They were very specifically mean. They were John Cena mean.
Wait. Well, John Cena's not mean. John Cena is a face.
No. The comments were about John Cena in relations to me. So I get one comment that goes, "Hey, he looks like John Cena." And then there was another comment. "Is that John Cena's dad?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Hey, that's a compliment.
Is that an old John Cena? And then my favorite one was, "Hey, John Cena in a fat suit." I'm like, "I'm going to fine you. I'm going to."
I'm gonna go read comments after this.
Oh yeah. And my daughters would yell at me because, again, the rule is always get the last punch. I would reply to their comments, and my daughter was yelling, "Dad, you can't get in fights with people on YouTube." But I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. Joey Callahan and Joey Callahan Comedy on Instagram. What are you laughing at?
We'll put all the links. We'll put all the links in the shows. I'm laughing because I went to the comment. I went to the comments while I'm still on the podcast with you, Joey. I apologize. I was watching this in my living room, and my wife yells from the kitchen, "OMG! John Cena does stand-up comedy now."
See, I'm not making that. I'm not. My wife is like, "Yeah, I wish you looked like John Cena." I go,
it's like the fourth comment in there.
It was John Cena specific in their heckles.
I'm gonna find all the John Cena. You know what you should do? You should put all these on like Instagram or something where you just read all the John Cena ones, and while the John Cena theme music plays. Actually, you should dress up like John Cena. Get like one of his shirts, the hat, and the little bands. Then play the music and read all these, and do that, because I think it'd be hilarious.
I'm a big comic book geek, so if I could get a Peacemaker costume, I'll do that. But,
that would be amazing. I also am a big comic book fan.
By the way, I don't see the John Cena resemblance. I don't see it at all. So
if you take your glasses off, you'll see. I can see it. Yeah, he doesn't do that face, but he does. He does. But
it's John Cena having a stroke in his older age.
This is how I would picture John Cena's dad. These are the best comments. I would be so happy if someone was like, "This guy looks like John Cena." I'm like, well, I'm okay with that.
Well, but you see, I'm not making stuff up. I don't write jokes. I just repeat what happens to me.
He has a John Cena voice. Everyone in the comments talking about how he looks like John Cena, and I'm like, I guess. I get an ad mid-video. Apparently, John Cena has a new film coming out. I stand corrected. Well played, Internet. This is amazing. The comments here are a gold mine of comedy. I love this. So, there you go.
Listen, I'm going to give you advice, young man. When you do your special, I'm going to tell you not to do it. I'm going to tell you, don't read the comments.
Everyone says don't read the comments. I 100% agree with you, but honestly, these are not mean comments. These are epically hilarious Internet comments that I like. I love comments like this. I mean, it's not like they're like, "This old guy sucks and I wish he would go walk off a pier." Like,
there's a couple of them in there. I'm telling my daughter, stop commenting on YouTube. That's just mean.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Joey, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
I had an absolute blast, and thank you. I'm so flattered to be asked. Thank you. And if there's anything I can do for you, or if you ever find yourself on the East Coast, we'll exchange phone numbers via email, whatever
Yep.
I can do to help you, please.
No, definitely. Here's my one dream wish that never came true that maybe one day you can help me with, and
Sure.
we'll probably do it together. So I have always wanted to go to an Eagles game. I've never been to an Eagles game ever. I've been an Eagles fan my whole life. Even I almost tried to buy tickets for the Super Bowl when they went to the Super Bowl, and nothing. Like when Donovan McNabb was the quarterback, just so everybody knows what year we're talking about. I still have tons of Eagles jerseys in my closet. I have my own custom Eagles jersey with my name on it, all that stuff. I am a hardcore, I love the Philadelphia Eagles fan. I've never been to a game. So someday, when I can make it to the East Coast, I would love to go to a game with you. I'd love to have Philly cheesesteaks with you. Like, that is, like, if it wasn't for snow, I would probably live in Philly. That's my only thing is I cannot stand snow.
Well, I'll teach you a lesson about Philly. It's called a cheesesteak. It's just, you call it a cheesesteak.
Okay.
As soon as you call it a Philly cheesesteak, everybody like, hey, where's he from?
Well, no. I say that because there are cheesesteaks here, places that call themselves a cheesesteak place. That's not a real cheesesteak.
Right. You can say Philly cheesesteak being specific to an option that you have. But when you come to Philly, just call it a cheesesteak.
Yeah. Well, I would just, Geno's or whatever the place is.
I'll give you the tour of Philly. I'll take you to Fishtown. I'll show you the tap room. We'll go by the link. My cousin's husband is a chef for the Eagles, so we'll see what we can do.
That sounds awesome, man. That would be my dream. I'm wearing my jersey every. I'll tell one more story before we go.
Please, let me just say, I'm a complete nerd. I'm not a sports guy at all. My entire family live, breathe, and eat Notre Dame football and Eagle football and Philly baseball. You show me a comic book, you got my attention. But please, take the floor.
I am a big comic book nerd as well, so I do collect. I also play Magic the Gathering. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. It's a very nerdy, specific card game. But so, I used to work when I got out of the military. I worked for a private contractor that worked with military bases and stuff. And there's a military base in New Jersey that we worked with, and I had to work there for a week, and I would drive from Jersey to Philly, get 2 cheesesteaks, eat one on the way back to Jersey, eat one when I got off of work for the day, and I did that every day for a week. By the time I got home, I had gained 10 pounds in that 1 week.
It's like when I go to Chicago. I'm like, when I go to Chicago, I see when you land Chicago, get off at the airport, out of the airplane, just take your pants off. Just get it out of the way. You'll be thankful because you ain't wearing them on the way back.
No, yeah, and you're gonna eat deep dish like it's nobody's business and stuff. And you're gonna find street dogs, and it's bad news. All right, well, thank you again, Joey. Thank you for everybody. I'm gonna put all your links in the show notes. I'm gonna put up there. You guys go to YouTube, watch this stuff. Don't write any more John Cena jokes unless they're good. They got to be good. You got to be original. Bring the heat.
If you're gonna do it. Him laugh, you can write it. We'll go from there.
That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.